Please stand and remove your desk.
Without Lions and the support of the community, things like this would not happen. I have all the ads that we need to mention. Tonight, if you're interested, the Leo's Club, which is the Lions Club for junior high kids here. We have a very active group, and they are selling mums. If you would like a mum, you pick it up Saturday up at Pazoo's, and they're $10, and you have to place the order tonight for it. I have order forms at the table. The other thing is the Suffield Lions Club. Sweetest Day is coming, gentlemen, especially. And they have their rose sale. And we will be having the rose sale down at Suffield Town Hall on Saturday the 18th on Sweetest Day. Then on the 12th of October here, all the Lions throughout Ohio have what they call Step Walk, which is raising funds for children's cancer research. There are 5 children's hospitals in the state, and all the money will stay within the hospitals within Ohio. It doesn't go someplace far away, and it's helping our kids here within our communities. It's down at the Goodyear State Park, and we'd love to have anybody come and help join us. There's information on the table. Then, if you're really ambitious, of course, Turkey Day in Brimfield is the turkey trot. Thursday morning, the turkey trot up here at Brimfield Center. There's more information about that on the table. The Suffield Lions are selling cemetery pillows for cemeteries. We will be taking orders for that. And then the other reminder is on the 23rd of October, we will have our normal candidates night with the remainder of the candidates that we have on our ballots. The Suffield candidates for trustee, the school board candidates, there are 4 running, and the judges candidates. It will be on the 23rd here that evening. So we invite you. There's all the information on the table if you didn't catch it here. Thanks for coming, folks.
All right, well, we're going to start off this evening with having the Township Fiscal Officer candidates come up. Please welcome Jasmine and Blake Johnson up to the stage. Okay, we're going to start off and let each candidate give about a 5-minute speech. After that 5 minutes, then we'll break down and we have some submitted questions. If you do have questions you'd like to have asked, please write those down on a piece of paper, bring them up here to the table. Those will be then scanned and brought up for Q&A. You can go ahead and write questions just for the financial officers or the trustees or for everyone, for all. All right? So we'll go ahead and get started then, and I'd like to welcome to the podium, Jack.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jasmine, and I currently serve as the current fiscal officer. I graduated from Urbana High School, right down the street. From there, I went on to obtain my bachelor's in accounting with a concentration in forensic accounting. And then I went on to pursue my master's in forensic accounting and fraud investigation. And then from there, my career started in the city of Akron's finance and budget department, where I interned for a year, and that led me to a variety of private businesses where I was an accountant. And from there, I did serve my career mostly in nonprofit and local government organizations. Currently, for the past 6 years, I have been the business management supervisor at DD, where I help manage a budget of upward of $22 million. There, a lot of my jobs and duties parallel directly with what I do currently with the township. So, even with personal and hardships and things of that nature, we all learn from setbacks and challenges in our lives. And I think all those things are able to come full circle when we are in position with the township and we're struggling and we need to find our way back and do things of that nature. It's all about resilience and building a path forward and always overcoming our challenges. So that's our little spill. Thank you for having me.
Next up, please welcome Blake Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Blake Johnson. I am a 21-year-old who has lived in Brimfield Township for the past 18 years, and I grew up in this community. I care deeply about this community. I went to Field High School, Field Middle School, Brimfield Elementary, K-12, all the way around. I did participate in some sporting activities. I played football, I played baseball, and I played cross-country track. That's what I really loved. For all 6 years, so from 7th through 12th grade, I ran and made it to the state meet in cross-country, which is one of my biggest accomplishments. But I'm running for Brimfield Township Fiscal Officer because this township deserves, the people of this township deserve a financial management that is honest, accurate, and also transparent. So a little bit about the fiscal officer job. So the fiscal officer job is a very
Brimfield's financial position.
So my plans to improve Brimfield's financial situation, I'm currently doing that. So when I came into Brimfield Township, things weren't, as you all know, where they should be. So what I have done, I have, so they have transparency in their financials. That's a big issue. Everyone didn't know where they stood financially on the department. So that was my main goal, first and foremost, was to get everybody on the same page. So that is what propelled me to have a financial policies and procedures manual that laid out strictly how we are supposed to process POs, requisitions, our budgets, and things of that nature. Along with that, it's just a transparency to our community. So I started Fiscal Fridays in an effort to make sure that we we are showing where your tax dollars are going, how they're being spent. So my goal is to, in the future, as things level out, is to be able to bring that financial data to our actual website. That's a lot of dashboard, so you can see where things are, how funds are being handled, expenses, revenues, how things are coming in, how things are going out, live data, and that is in the works. Currently, I am meeting with department heads on a regular basis, always trying to make sure they know where they are, trying to make sure they're making wise and smart decisions when it comes to accounts. I've looked through our financials, looked at account goals, even met with our state auditors. I have a past auditor for the state, so I still have those connections today where I reach out to them just to make sure we are in a good path. So I have been doing that, reaching out to them, creating new account codes so we can make sure our dollars are in detail. Everything isn't lumped in together as just these are expenses. We want to know which departments are spending what and how, so we can make sure we're able to forecast and budget accurately in the future, so we don't end up having shortfalls and losses in the future.
So my idea of how to improve Brimfield Township's financial position is to make sure every dollar is accounted for and make sure that it is spent the right way. Obviously, everybody knows the fire station went way over budget. There was, I guess, no oversight on that. There needs to be more oversight on how money is spent, if money is being spent the wrong way, or if money that we know project's going to go over budget, that we plan for that's going to go over budget and by how much. Also, making sure the departments are within their budgets, making sure we have enough money for everybody that goes around in the general fund, make sure that it can also help any department that is at risk of falling behind on their bills, making sure everything's in order out there.
To our township, our citizens, our tax dollars. So with that, that means coming in and making sure things are on the correct path before I do anything else. So I came into I guess you could say, a mess. So I can't do anything while a mess is still occurring. It is best to get the ship on the right path first. And so that is what I've been doing. And I do anticipate in the next month to start doing a little bit.
Well, I can't really answer this question because I'm not the fiscal officer, but what I do know is that all the money that is in this township is accounted for. There's no money missing. I know where all the money went. It went to the fire station that we overspent. Plain and simple. We need more accountability on how the money's spent, where it's spent, and how to stop projects from going way over budget. Obviously, COVID happened. That was a big part in how the fire station went over budget, but as COVID was going on and progressing, we should have went through it and said, hey, steel's up 10% this month, maybe we should have a little bit more money saved for the project.
Given the extra cost for the parks director and maintenance, does Brimfield need to have its own parks? Do you support the parks in Brimfield?
Do we need to have our own parks? You know what, honestly, I am not sure. That is not my area of expertise of how things go on in Brimfield. But I do see a benefit to parks, honestly. I would never say there's not a benefit to it. There is a benefit if it's needed. how those departments are adding value to the community. It shouldn't just be a catch-all department and we do this and that and whatever else, but there should be a true value to that department, and that goes for whatever position in the department we're adding to the township as a whole.
I think parks are vital to a community, obviously. You have football games there, soccer games there, any kind of thing, walking activities, trails, playgrounds, all that good stuff. So yeah, I think they're good for this community. I think we need them. But also, if the costs of maintaining those parks and running those parks get to be too much, which right now I don't think they are, I think what we have right now is good. So if those costs do get too high for the township to burden, then we should be able to pass it on to Portage County to take over our parks and be able to run those areas. If not, I think our township is doing a good job right now with our parks, and we should keep adding on. And, yeah.
Do you think it's a conflict of interest for two relatives to hold public office within the community? And if you think it's okay, what degrees of separation would you take to make sure that it's equal and fair?
Of course, you can ask me this question. It can be, but honestly, it doesn't have to be. I know she goes into our husband and wife team that I work with, but in all honesty, it shouldn't matter. That's the thing. It shouldn't matter. We should all have integrity and be trustworthy and honest, no matter who we're serving with. I'm not about to sit here and say, of course, father and son shouldn't serve. To me, that would be very unbranded. But as an honest person, I am, and I think that we really need to be honest with ourselves and how we approach and look at our community as a whole, and try to be more united. Not always trying to look at things with malicious intent, even though sometimes it is. But I was raised to just be honest, truthful, loving, caring, transparent, no matter what the situation is. And hopefully we can be that, because the fiscal office is the heart of the township. And no matter, everything touches the fiscal office. So we don't want anything that's going to taint that. You don't want anything to obscure that view, that vision, because my goal is to be unity and have that pour out of the heart of the township, which is the fiscal office.
You asked that question. That's a great question to ask. But no, I don't think it's a conflict of interest. The reason is because the fiscal office and the trustees are separately elected positions. One does not serve the other. I don't serve for the trustees don't serve me. So there's a separation there. And also, they just spend the money. My job is to keep track of the money, make sure everything's straight, everything is in order, everything is accounted for, and they're the ones that spend the money. If they say, spend this amount of money, okay, I sign the check, that money's gone. And there are other things in place to prevent things from happening, bad things from happening, like money going missing. Also, you need two trustees to do anything in this township. So one trustee doesn't really affect anything, and that's all I've said.
All right, one final question here. What was the auditor's opinion on the financial statements, and what recommendations did the auditor suggest, and when we stand with those recommendations?
So as far as the auditor recommendation, there has been a few, as far as budgeting and things of that nature, budgeting in the incorrect funds and overspending and things of that nature. But corrective action plans have been created and sent to the auditor's office to correct those actions, such as purchase orders, making sure they are process before any spending occurs. So that's another reason, that's why I created a policy and procedure manual to make sure all department heads are clear. So even though this is a fiscal officer position, and it has to do with a lot of technical skills, you also have to come in this position also with a teacher mindset, because you also have to teach and instruct others how to spend and do things properly according to the AOS guidelines and the ORC. So we can't just say this is an accounting position and you just need to know how to budget, and you also have to be able to have a heart of a teacher and be able to be understanding and listen and things of that nature. So being able to go to the Brimfield team and explain what we have been deemed on as from audit standpoint, we can now go back together, come together, teach those things, and make sure they don't no longer happen again.
I'm glad to hear that the auditor found nothing missing, and that there are some procedures in place to make sure nothing goes wrong again, but that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, I did lie, there was one final question here. What is your driving force that pushes you towards wanting this position?
My driving force is always God first. My children and my husband second, and then my community third. Everything I do, I try to have a servant's heart. I was asking God, even before this position was available, how can I serve my community better? Because, to be honest, I am a very introverted individual. I don't meet and greet a lot. I don't go out the house a lot unless it's church, work, or my kids' events. But being able to serve my community has always been on my heart, and to be able to do that with the skills God has blessed me with has been a blessing so far. Even though it started a little messy, a little rocky, but we're here and we're doing things. And honestly, I'm happy to be in the position, and I'm blessed, and I thank God for it.
What drives me to become the new fiscal officer of Brimfield Township would be that I grew up in this community, so I know it pretty well, and I really wish the best for our community, and I don't want to see anything bad happen here, be it anything at all. I think Brimfield Township needs to be what it is and how it is right now. It's a very good place to live. I've lived here 18 years, I've gone to school here. I plan to live here for a lot longer than some other people that live here. And I think what also drives me is my education. I mean, I went to school here, obviously, but I also go to Kent State as well. I'm a finance major, so numbers aren't really too far out of my ballpark here. So I think what I bring to the office is some good stuff, because I am a finance major, so I think that'll really help me in this position.
Thank you both for your time and your answers, and we wish you the best of luck. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started again. Next up, we will have the trustee and the job. So I'd like everybody to welcome Nicholas Coia, Thomas Johnson, Ann Mars, McKey, Charles Prather, Thomas Pratt, and Robert Thacker. anything. We're going to involve the candidates 5 minutes to go ahead and give us a little about themselves and their position. And then we will have some Q&A. So first off, I'd like to go ahead and start with Mr. Nicholas Coia.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Coia, Brimfield Township Trustee. I want to begin tonight by honoring our Lions Club for hosting this event. Organizations like this are truly the foundation of our communities, and I'm very grateful for their dedication. I also want to take a moment to honor my wife, Ashley. Your love, support, and grounding have carried me through the past 8 years. I truly appreciate it. To my daughters, Brinley and Meadow, thank you for your patience. Taking calls, attending meetings, spending evenings away. Meadow often reminds me, Dad, it's like you're always working. And yes, I am. But everything I do for my children, I do for God, and I do for this community. I see many familiar faces out there tonight, as well as some new ones. And thank you for being part of this election process. For the past 8 years, I have served as the Brimfield Township Trustee. I have served as chairman several times. I've served on the Brimfield Kent Jet Board as the treasurer, on the Brimfield Jet Board as a Brimfield Township Jet Board as a voting member on the Portage County 911 Planning Committee, and I've had the honor to serve as the Portage County Township Association president. Outside of work, I am a coach. I'm a deacon at the Hill Church, my home church where we love it, a volunteer in outreach programs. My educational background includes a master's in public administration with an undergrad degree in business administration with a focus in project management. Currently, I serve as the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of CS2 Safety Services, where we've helped businesses all across Ohio strengthen their culture, encourage their employees, and build for the future. But tonight is not about the past, tonight is about the future. Brimfield is the fastest growing township in Portage County, and growth brings both opportunity and challenge. This November, we are guaranteed to replace 33% of our board, which means stability, knowledge, and real experience will be more important than ever. When Ashley asked me if I was going to run again, I considered the cost. The long hours, the late phone calls, the missed dinners, the constant conversations. The job never ends. Even when shopping at the local Walmart, you never know who has something to say with a question, a concern, or a frustration. With so much at stake, though, I knew I needed to step up one more time. Changing 67% of the board at once could have a huge impact on all the progress we've made. My love for Brimfield is why I'm here tonight. Asking you for this chance to continue to serve. I want to be honest with you about something. My style is not always political, it's not always polished. My passion sometimes shows in my strong words, and yes, it even shows in heated conversations at times. But that passion comes from a love for this community. It comes from when I see a problem, I'm going to lean into it, I'm going to speak up, and I'm going to work tirelessly to make sure it gets resolved. And sometimes that means standing firm when others won't. Over the next 4 years, I want to build on what we've already done. Transparency has always been a backbone of what I do, and it's part of my leadership. I've fought to have our township meetings live streamed, and I will continue to do that. And I challenge our Board of Zoning Appeals and our Zoning Commission to bring that back so there is transparency and clarity in the decisions that are made in our community. Financial stability is critical to our future. With new fiscal leadership, we are finally having the data to make smart decisions, and I'm proud to work alongside Jasmine. My goal is clear, by 2027, to achieve at least a 40% carryover balance. This isn't about stockpiling money, it's about ensuring we have the funds to cover our bills as we go from January to March when that first disbursement comes from the county. I also plan to prioritize zoning and economic development. For 8 years ago, I pushed for an update to the land use plan. And the plan now guides what we do through zoning, and it's amazing. But change has happened, and so we need to reevaluate. And over the next 2 years, in 2026 and 2027, I want to lead a community-driven process to review and update that plan. This includes town halls, guided tours of the community, and real opportunities for our residents to be part of this process. I want to end with this thought, because it seems to be a point of contention for some. Stepping up and calling out problems is never easy, and it's rarely popular. I did not rise concerns to be rude, mean, or political. I did it because our township deserves honesty. For years, fiscal issues were hidden, ignored, and brushed aside. I tried to have those conversations quietly and respectfully, but too often they fell on deaf ears. When the information was withheld, held and heads were buried in the sand, I reached a point where silence was no longer an option. Standing up and shouting enough is enough was not about politics, it was about integrity, accountability, and protecting Brimfield's future. I sought counsel not only from members, but through prayer and through friends and other leaders to shine a light on where we were. And while some may try to twist this into a political weapon, it was uncomfortable. And some will try to twist this into a political weapon. The results speak for themselves. Our finances are clear, our department heads are more confident, and the culture of the township is healthier, and our community is stronger. I am proud of our community, and I believe we have incredible residents. I plan to keep moving Brimfield forward. Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Kevin Scott.
Good evening, I'm Kevin Scott. I am a Brimfield farmer, a Brimfield business owner, and my family goes back to Brimfield for a long, long time. My grandparents bought the property on Old Forge Road in the mid-1930s. We've been here ever since. This is hometown. I went through field schools, graduated from Maplewood in 1988, went to Ohio State ATI with a degree in business management. I came home from Ohio State, and 1 month later I bought a truck and went into the trucking business. That was September of 1990. I've been self-employed and a business owner ever since. In 2003, I bought the home farm where I was raised from my mom, and we have continuously grown that farm. We had a farm market, and we have sorry, I'll speak up. How's that? Is that better? We have added a farm market to the farm. We employ Brimfield. We employ Brimfield residents in our store. We are Brimfield through and through. In 1993, I married my wife. We've been married for 32 years, coming up pretty soon. We have 2 kids that also went through field schools and graduated from field. My daughter is a biomed teacher, and my son works at the farm with me, and he started his own business of mobile mechanical oil. So there's 2 concerns that I have, I guess, major concerns. Zoning appeals is one of them, and financial stability is the other one. I think with the perspective of agriculture and self-employment business owner, I believe you look at things totally different than most people. I know development in the Brimfield area is a huge issue, and I know that's a double-sided coin. Without being an actual land owner, I mean a large parcel of land that could be developed, you don't see both sides of that issue. There's there's property owners' rights to do what you want with your property. There's also trying to save what open farmland we have. So I see, as a farmer with a large parcel of land, that there is 2 issues there that you need to look at both sides. It's not a one-way street. As far as the zoning, I believe zoning appeals is a huge issue. Over the last 12 months, I did some quick calculations, and there was 97% passed. So any variance that was asked under zoning appeals, 97% has passed. Out of that 97%, 46 were residents, 46% were residents. 53% was non-residents. The only one that failed was a resident under zoning appeals. That's a huge issue. So the outside sources, the 56% that passed, the 53% that was approved, were outside sources. They were not Brimfield residents. They were not Brimfield landowners. They were developers, builders, and every one of those have passed. So no matter what you ask for in zoning appeals, I That's a problem. The other problem is, out of all their meetings, everyone was voted unanimously. Not one person on that board spoke up and said, I have a problem with this. I don't want this. Not one person. It's unanimous every time. That seems wrong. That seems like it's just getting pushed through. There's higher powers telling them this has got to go, this has got to go, this has got to go. But it really is concerning that the one resident that did fail or did not get passed, that was a resident. This is not right. So the outside sources have more power. I guess my time's up. Anyhow, I bring a different perspective to the board. Self-employed, farmer, a business owner. My roots are here for a long time. This is hometown to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one, however, is Dan Marsh.
First off, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. I was a little nervous when I walked in and saw everyone, and realized how big the list of candidates were. I thought maybe we were all running against each other. But I'm glad you're here to be part of, be an informed voter. I had a number of people ask me tonight if I was nervous, and honestly I was not until I got right up here and realized that the last time that I was on this stage, actually in this very spot, was junior high talent show. So hopefully this goes a little better than that. Just a little bit about me. I am a field graduate. We moved here in 1980. I've lived here most of my life. We did move away for a little bit, but came home. I'm an Eagle Scout. I coached soccer here with the youth leagues. I volunteered with Southern Portage Habitat for Humanity. And I love this area. Now, a number of people have asked me why I'm running. And that's a fair question. I think that I was not happy with the way the finances were going. With the fire department being over budget, it seems like for a while that there was kind of an open checkbook, and no one was really checking that too closely. So that would be my goal, is to watch the spending a little tighter, and to spend what we have and to save some, not what we don't have. Our fire and police and road departments are excellent. They do well. I commit to continue funding for them. I think there was earlier we talked about parks a little bit, and I can tell a little bit more about that. I do work for the Portage Park District, and so as that, I just want to clarify a little bit. There was talk about, we can just give our parks to the Portage Park District. It doesn't work quite that easily. The Portage Park District, the goal is on conservation. The township parks are parks and recreation, so that should be more your ball fields and playgrounds and things of that nature. That being said, I think we do need some better parks in Brimfield. I don't believe that we need to spend more on them. I believe that through grants and sponsorships that we can have better parks. I think currently the amount of money that we're paying is too much for what we're getting in return. So I would like to see that improved. The biggest thing that I would like to see, and as a trustee, is a return of honesty and transparency. I know that word gets thrown around a lot. I think that it can be improved on. And I think honesty and fairness needs to come back into the trustee's position, and a willingness to work with others. I'm honored to be among these men. These are all people that have stepped up and are willing to serve the community. So we may have our differences, and we do. We've talked, and we do have our differences, but I'm glad to be standing alongside them. So I do ask for your vote on November 4th or sooner for Dan Mars for trustee.
Next up, we have Mr. Thomas Johnson.
Good evening, my name is Thomas Johnson, and I'm also a candidate for Brimfield Township Trustee. We have a large group running this year, and I'm really encouraged to see the turnout today. It shows that this election is valuable to our community, and people have taken time out of their busy schedule to come and spend it with us here this evening. But first, I'd like to start with thanking my mom. She taught me humility and kindness. She was a great teacher. And also my father taught me responsibility. And also my wife. She's not here right now. I think she stepped out to get some fresh air, but I appreciate her and her efforts as well. So let me give you a little bit of my background. I grew up in a small farming town called Tiffin, Ohio, about 100 miles to the west, surrounded by beans and corn. So I also grew up in a rural community, and we value nature. We value the bounty of the land that we had surrounding us, and I see that here in Brimfield. But I left that area and came to Brimfield. Well, I started at Kent State University. I came to go to college there. So my college years, I graduated with a degree in criminal justice with a focus in aviation. While I was there, I enlisted in the ROTC program and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. My goal was aviation. That's what really motivated me. I wanted to be an astronaut. So I thought, how do I become an astronaut? Well, aviation sounds like a good idea. So I started out in the military as an armor officer, kind of far away from aviation as possibly can get. But then I was selected to go to the aviation flight school at Fort Rucker, Alabama. I attended flight school, graduated as a Army aviator, flew helicopters for about 14 years on active duty and in the Ohio Army National Guard. My full-time job, once leaving the military, I took a position with the United States Postal Service. Again, you see a common theme here of service. Service as a veteran of the United States military and serving the community as an employee of the Postal Service. I retired several years ago from the Postal Service and began to look at my next task, which was continue that service theme and also service to the community. I'm currently the chairman of the Zoning Commission here in Brimfield Township. Volunteer work, I have lots. I was the treasurer of the Brimfield Boosters Club, Field Athletic Boosters Club. Also was on the board of the Soapbox Derby here in Portage County. Just to give you an update, as the chair, we do plan on revisiting and updating the land use plan this January. At the Zoning Commission, I've learned a couple things. Value the rural culture of our community and do everything possible to protect that. I'm committed to that as a chair of the Zoning Commission. I'm also committed to that as a potential trustee. With that, again, I understand the values of the community. I share those values. Preserve the rural characteristic of our community. Support the fire department, police department, and our roads department. Those are essential services that need not be compromised with any type of financial stress that we have in this community. With that, I'm committed to this community. I ask for your vote this November. Again, Thomas Johnson, Brimfield Township Trustee. Thank you.
And next up, we have Mr. James McKey.
Good evening, everyone. What is a little echo here? This cafeteria looks almost exactly the same except for red tables. That's the only difference. Hello, my name is Dr. James McKey. I am running for Brimfield Township Trustee. I have lived in Brimfield all my life, 55 years, with the exception of 4 years being out of state for chiropractic school. I attended Brimfield Elementary, Field High School, Kent Roosevelt, Kent State, and Logan College of Chiropractic. In high school, I ran track, played baseball, basketball, and football. Go Bucks. My mission statement is to be a voice for the residents and slow down residential and industrial development. Make a 5-year, a 10-year, and a 20-year plan to give Brimfield a sense of direction. Start making educated financial and management decisions, which we have been lacking. Rein in the zoning department and give the fire department and police department the support they need, because they've been doing a great job. If you're upset with the direction that Brimfield has been headed, maybe it's time for a change in leadership. So now what I want to do is just pull the curtain back a little bit, compare apples to apples. Brimfield and Talmadge started the fire station builds at the same time. Talmadge was done in 2 years. Brimfield were still trying to kind of finish after 4.5. I believe simple mistakes were done. When you have a $1 million bill, $7-8 million bill, you have to have an oversight commission to make sure mistakes are not made. Make sure the contractors are doing their jobs correctly. That was not done. Mr. Coia voted against the residential majority and for light industrial. So for example, if you have a 10,000 square foot building under roof, that's 10,000 square feet. The Economic Zoning Board had rules that stated 5% of that is for outdoor storage. Mr. Coia voted to make it unlimited. So that 5% would have been 500 square feet outside. So never prior has it been unlimited, but Mr. Coia wanted it changed. Brimfield is having some financial difficulties. Ms. Golden is really helping with that. Her report showed several weeks ago that we have $67,000 in the general fund. We should have $1 to $2 million. We had to borrow money from the police department and fire department to pay Rycon, who is the contractor for the fire department. And that should never happen. I don't know how we can let a store be built in front of the elementary school that can sell beer, wine, and baking supplies. Through zoning, purchasing, or other means, we could have secured that property. We need to prioritize our kids' safety. That's very important. So if you want higher taxes, more residential developments, become a city in 10 to 12 years, I think the current administration is the way you need to go. If you don't want that, I'm your guy. I don't know whether Mr. Coia or any of you know that there is a housing development going in off of Talmadge Road with 400 units. And that's not my mindset. We need to keep Brimfield rural and agricultural, because most people move here to have a swatch of land, to enjoy that, to raise cattle, to have chickens, to go outside and play baseball, throw football with their kids. This is very, very important to me, and I want to try and protect Brimfield. Thank you very much.
Last up, Mr. Charles Prather.
I don't know, probably the last year and a half, I've really been paying attention to some things and just want to make a difference. My kids went to field, and after they went to field, they were homeschooled. My son had bone disease, had trouble getting around, so it was easier for him to be at home and be taught. Field schools were always good to my children when they were here, but I'm proud to call this community home. I used to work in Brimfield, but we moved our business to Suffolk 3 years ago due to building issues. Been a husband, father, I think. Been married 27 years. I'm not kidding, I might get in trouble for that later. I should have wrote that down. But got 2 children that are grown. I have the time to commit to our community, put the extra time in to make sure things are done right. If I'm elected, I'll do things with my whole heart. I won't, there's no gray areas with me, it's either right or wrong. And I don't have a lot to tell you about me as far as sports. I'm a little guy, you know. But anyhow, I intend to do my job with my whole heart if I'm elected. Brimfield is a tight niche community. It's grown quite a bit, but I still think we respect each other as friends and neighbors. I would like to see some of the growth slowed down to protect our farmers, rural communities, and I believe in taking care of the police, fire, roads. Then after that's taken care of, we have extra money, then we can do other things. Those are our essentials for our community. And you've been hearing a lot about transparency. I'm even getting sick of hearing about it. But I would not make a motion or a vote on something that I didn't have facts or figures on. Jasmine, you're golden to this community right now, fixing things. And you got my support in November. I definitely think that she was handed a tough job, given it, you know, a tough job at a tough time with some attitude, but you hung in there, you know, I'm proud of you. But my job as a trustee is to represent you all. I don't expect any of you to, you know, treat me special. I work for you, and that's all I can do with my whole heart. I've been a small business owner for 15 years. Sometimes things are pretty tough. You got to make decisions that aren't great, but you got to make a decision. Sometimes they're not going to be popular, but you got to do what's right for the community, for yourself. A lot of you guys that are business owners know the stress involved with owning a business. I do believe as a trustee, we should be able to interact more with zoning to reduce some, you know, help do some things in zoning and to be able to slow the growth here to where we can, you know, handle it. The trustees are kind of, you know, from what I've witnessed since I've been going to meetings, zoning meetings, trustees have to confirm the zoning people, but don't get to interview them or vet them to make sure they're on the same page. You know, that's not what, you know, we need to do. We need to work together as a team. Constructive criticism amongst each other fixes a whole lot more things than not communicating. She's telling me to stop, so I'm going to stop. thank you, and look forward to serving you guys if elected. If not, if I don't get elected, I will support who is in there. We're all friends and neighbors at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, so we have some questions. We're going to allot 3 minutes per candidate to answer the questions. The first question is a little bit of a double question here. What specific qualifications or experience do you have to meet the job description? And along with that, what do you consider the most important duty of a trustee?
So the question is, what qualifications do I hold to be Brimfield Township Trustee? I hold a handful of qualifications, to be honest with you. I've served this role for 8 years, and that experience is important. Because being an elected official is more than just showing up to events and shaking hands and kissing babies. All right, it's really about being out there and being involved in the community. But there's rules, there's regulations into how we do things. And I bring that experience to the board. As chairman of the board, I help run the meetings, I understand how they work. I also come with an education that supports this. Business administration is different than public administration. Finance is different in government than it is in the private sector. And my master's in public administration helps me to bring that knowledge to the forefront. I spent a lot of years studying that and really working and crafting that skills. I also bring the experience as not only a business owner, but I bring the experience of helping companies develop and change all across the state of Ohio. I work as a safety consultant, but it's really a culture change agent. We go in, we help companies identify their weaknesses, their risks, and then we improve those and identify what risk levels we're willing to accept and which ones we're willing to change. So as a trustee, we do the same thing. We identify the risks, the concerns that exist, and then we surround ourselves with great leaders to help support that process. And I really do believe we have some amazing leadership in our roads department, our fire department, police department. Those individual leaders are great. You know, a lesson I learned early in life was this, that the greatest leaders surround themselves around people that are even better than them. And we're very blessed here in Brimfield Township with that leadership that we get to work with. What's the most important quality of an elected official or Brimfield Township trustee? My opinion is somebody who's willing to go out and interact with the community. We have to spend time with you. You know, sometimes people say, oh, all you do is constantly campaign on your pages. I'm not campaigning, I'm out supporting our small businesses, talking to business owners, helping identify what their needs are, and bringing solutions back to the board. I'm out promoting those businesses, promoting our residents and spending time with them, because we are your voice. And I can sit inside of a box and come up with the greatest ideas in the world, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for our residents. It means that I have to be involved. Our trustees have to be involved. We're public figures who are out there representing you. And the best way to learn that is to be involved. And some of the best ways is through volunteerism, volunteering in organizations, coaching some sports, being involved with families. These are things that I do because I think it's important for our community, but it also keeps me in touch with you, the voters, so that we can bring your ideas back. So education, work experience, leadership experience as a trustee already, and then also that community outreach that I do. I am constantly involved. You know that I'm out there. I talked to a few people tonight. My phone rings, I answer. It doesn't matter time of day or night. I can ask my daughter. She's always giving me a hard time about it. We're always on the phone. But we do it because it's about the residents. You have to be willing to make that commitment, and that's probably the most important piece.
Can I get those questions again?
What specific qualification or experience do you have to meet the job description, and what do you consider the most important duty of a trustee?
So my qualifications would be 31 plus years as a business owner. Brimfield Township is a business. It's in the business of properly handling of the tax money that it receives from you residents. You deserve a return on your investment, and a business owner has a perspective of that the average citizen probably doesn't. And as far as qualifications, is that what that was? The second part?
Yeah, what do you consider most important?
What the most important part of being a trustee would be, I would say, honesty. If, you're not going to make a decision every day that everyone's going to be happy with, but my family's been here for 100 years. We're pretty well invested in Brimfield. I don't plan on going anywhere. This is my hometown. So I will do my best to do what's best for Brimfield. Now, you're not going to get every day, you're not going to get an answer that everybody wants every day, but you have to be invested in the community long term. So I think that's my answer. Thank you.
So qualifications, I mean, I guess I too can say I do have a bachelor's degree from BYU, Idaho. But probably more importantly, I definitely have a life education. I've known a lot of people, I've volunteered in a lot of things, I've met a lot, had a lot of experiences, real life experiences that are applicable. I also, business owner, before I started working for the park, I was a self-employed contractor for a long time. And then back when COVID hit, that was the right time for me to go to the park district. And so now I do have experience working for a government entity, because the park district is a government entity. As far as duties of the trustee, or the most important duty of the trustee, I think it goes back to the root of the word trustee. I mean, the very root of it is trust. And if you don't have the trust in the person that is serving in that position, then it's really not a good situation. So that's what I intend to bring back to the trustee board, is trust. So that you know that everything that I vote for or do is with the betterment of Brimfield in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. One of the greatest qualifications any individual can have, especially in a position of leadership in a township such as Brimfield, is sharing the values. Your value aligns with the value of the community. I believe my values align with your values. Preserve rural aspect of our community. Support our police, our EMS, and our fire department, and support the roads. We enjoy having our roads plowed in the wintertime. So those qualities also coincide with leadership. My service in the U.S. Army has given me quite a bit of skills in leadership. Conducting missions and so forth are really task-oriented and goal-oriented. I possess those skills. I share that with this township. Important duties. One of the most important duties that any leader can have as a township is the skill of listening. Listening to the community. Getting the pulse of the community and what direction they choose the community to go in. And with that, as the chair of the zoning commission, and you heard a lot tonight about the zoning commission, and I've been on the zoning commission for 8 years, I've been the chair for 3 years. The zoning board is not a hammer. You have to work within the community, and you have to work within judicial review. You just can't willy-nilly do whatever you want. You'll end up in court, and you'll end up losing. So every decision that our zoning board takes under advisement, we have to evaluate those issues. So with that, listening skills, listening to the community, sharing your values with the community. Those are skills that I have. Thank you.
One of the qualifications I have is over my course of 25 years running 3 offices, managing staff, networking with other professionals, case managers, and getting to know and understand people and how we need to work with them. I believe the duties of a trustee most of the time comes down to conflict resolution. How do we resolve this problem? This is an issue. Now we need to kind of figure out what we need to do to overcome that and keep moving forward. Sometimes it's very, very tough. Sometimes you don't agree, but you always have to try to find common ground. I think those are the most important things in the duties of a trustee.
Some of the qualifications I have for a trustee, I can be a leader. I lead with integrity, honesty. Sometimes it's not popular for you, but you do what's right for everyone else. Main challenges for a trustee, or main job of a trustee, is keeping integrity in the office, managing the community properly, roads, fire, EMS, parks. Everywhere I've been involved in either work or school, whatever, I've always been a leader of some sort. Just jump in and go, you know. I want to represent the community with leadership, and that's probably my best qualification. Thank you.
Next question. Some people think we've lost that small hometown feel. What role do you think the trustee should play in zoning? And how do you plan to bridge the changing and growing needs of the community while maintaining that small hometown feel?
Well, I definitely don't want a Walgreens on the other side of school. I want to keep Brimfield, you know, with the friendly neighbor feeling that we've always had. As it is now, you know, it used to be years ago, you go to a gas station, you pump and gas, you know the guy next to you. Not so much anymore, getting them in from other communities. But we can keep Brimfield in check where we're at now with good leadership, good zoning, and possibly slow down the growth some to let us catch up with our budget and other things. Thank you.
One of the things I think we need to do is slow down all the residential development. Most people move here because they want to have that acre or two and be able to do things outside, like I mentioned before. When you get these higher populations, you're going to increase crime, and those are things we don't want here. This is a grassroots, rural type of town, and I really, really enjoy it being that way. And as I mentioned before, if we keep growing and growing and growing, we're going to turn into a village, and then we're going to turn into a city. And you're going to have taxes that way, and it's just going to change the feel of Brimfield Township. I like it rural, I like it agricultural, and I remember the days when you really didn't have to lock your doors, but things have changed. But let's just try and slow down this development and do it the right way. Thank you.
Maintaining the small town feel. I enjoy the small town feel. I feel it every day when I travel around Brimfield and visit with my neighbors. One of the things to continue the small town feel is chickens. Raising eggs, buying beef and pork from your neighbors, which I've done. That gives you the small town feel. It's the community that generates that feel. Small town feelings can't be legislated, can't be mandated. It's the community working together in a spirit of cooperation and goal setting. Now, we heard a lot about zoning this evening. One of the things we've done to kind of curtail the development is eliminate the PDUs, planned developmental units. With removing that, we have disincentivized builders to come and look at our community, to utilize our resources and our land and compromise our beauty for profit. We understand that at the Zoning Commission, that that is a priority, and we're working endlessly to make sure that we reach that task so our community isn't consumed by one development after another. But one of the things, again, and I'll reemphasize, the zoning book, which I have a copy of it here tonight, if you'd like to review it, I'd be more than happy to show you the book. You cannot use that as a hammer to stop something that you dislike. If it fits in the zoning code and it fits in a district and an individual sells their land to a developer, very little what we can do. We cannot win in court. But what we're going to do in January is we're going to review the land use plan. We're going to make sure it aligns with our zoning code so that it makes it more difficult for development in undesirable areas within the township. We have a corridor that we utilize. It's west of 76 Fort Talmadge, also north of 76 on 43. Those are our corridors we like to see developed. I'm not happy about a drugstore going in front of an elementary school. But if you remember, there was a proposal to put a Sheetz gas station there. We as a community worked together to stop that. And that's what we need to do. That small-time feel will continue as we work together as a trustee, hopefully, and you as the community, working together, we can eliminate any type of undesirable development.
Okay, gentlemen, we seem to be losing that small hometown feel. What role do you think trustees should play in zoning? And how do you plan to bridge the changing needs of the community while maintaining that feel?
I recently had a sit-down and chat with the director of regional planning, and we talked about this a little bit. I'm definitely not for more development just across the board, but I think that some development is going to happen. It's going to happen. But I think that we can control it and kind of, if we look at some of the other communities in our county, things that they've done well versus things that maybe they didn't do so well, we can learn from it, and we can make Brimfield the way we want it to be. That being said, the hometown feel I don't think is in the buildings or anything. I think the hometown feel is in the people. Organizations like the Lions Club that puts on the event like tonight, we do the turkey trot, we do food cupboard, the historical society. Those are all, that's where the hometown feel comes from. And so it's not just what we build or what we don't build. It is how we participate in the community. So I just encourage everyone to participate in the community in whatever way that is that's appropriate for you.
Could you read that again, please?
Some people think that we've lost that small hometown feel. What role do you think trustees should play in zoning? And how do you plan to bridge the changing growth between the community while maintaining a small town?
Well, to maintain a small town field, I suggest everybody buy a farm and build a farmer's market. No, seriously. Zoning appeals again, that's my thing. Zoning appeals is selling this town one permit at a time. Every time they pass a variance, it's not a variance to improve the township. They're selling off the quality, one piece at a time. So, and if you go back to what I said earlier, zoning appeals has approved 97% of the permits. So I think that's your problem. That's where your drug mark come from in front of the school. That's the issue that we have. As far as a trustee, I think we need to put different people on the boards. Somebody that isn't going to vote unanimously for every permit that comes through. That's my answer. Thank you.
So how do we as trustees create a hometown feel? As they set up here, it's about the people, but as the people, in order for the people to create that feeling, we as leaders have to take the initiatives to bring gathering points together. I'm proud of the fact that we brought a library back to our community, a place where people can gather for all ages. This library has been the best asset that we brought in a long time. I can tell you that it's the most visited library in the Portage County Library District now. It's an amazing gathering point for our residents. In the installation of sports fields, it's brought families together. As families come together, they spend time together, and that starts to create the hometown feel. You know, someone said that we can't use our zoning code as a hammer, and you're right, but we can use it as a chisel. We can use it as a chisel so to start developing our community and driving towards that small hometown feel. One of the ways that I plan to do this when re-elected in November 4th is to launch in 2026 a community-driven plan, very similar to what Dick Mesner has done in the past, taking a play right out of his playbook, bringing our community members together, having them come in and meet with zoning, learn about what's happening, and then getting with our local churches to get some buses, and we're going to go on a road trip. We're going to take you on tours of the community to show you where the rural areas are, the development that's happened, and then bring you back after those talks and those tours to sit down and have honest conversations about what we need to change, what you liked, what you saw, what you didn't like, and that information will help us to send the message of what that 2050 land use plan looks like. But in order for that to be successful, we need zoning board members on both the BZA and the zoning commission to align with the values of the elected officials. The trustees are elected by you to deliver on our visions that we propose. And to make us successful, I believe, and I proposed this at the beginning of this year and couldn't get traction, but I believe with the new board member we can. We need to institute an interview process for our zoning commission and BZA members, even for reappointments. They should sit before the board. We have a voice. We get to select them, but right now we make that based upon our zoning commission and based upon our zoning enforcement officer. And it's great. He has great knowledge. I'm not saying anything negative about him. What I'm saying is we're making that decision based on his opinion. They should sit before the board. We should make that decision based on what we see from them. And then that will push our values and help develop those community centers. So through that core, really through that 2050 land use plan, we can start to chisel away, bring back opportunities. I also have been talking with a local chamber about how do we bring community events back. That shouldn't be on the back of the township. That was always done by the chamber, and we can do that again, and we have plans that are coming, and I'm excited to see what 2026 looks like, and some announcements that will be coming out here in the next couple of weeks with the chambers. We're going to bring back those businesses. And lastly, it's about supporting the small businesses. When we stand up for the small businesses and remove obstacles, that creates that hometown feel because they're part of that hometown feel. They support our kids, they support our families, they support what we do.
All right. How will you ensure the desire of the people will be placed over the goods of business? Should they conflict? How can Brimfield showcase local businesses fairly? Mr. Martin?
Well, I guess, if you live here, you have more of a say than if you're just coming here as, that's a tough one. I mean, it's, I do believe though that if you live here, that you should have kind of a say in your township. Probably more so than if you just have a corporation. If you have a mom and pop store, that's great. So I'm not quite sure where you're going with the question, but
So
yeah.
if I may, the question was this, Gator. The question is actually how will you put the needs of the township in front of your own business? For those of you that are business owners?
Well, that's easy for me because I'm not a business owner.
So I'm not sure if that was directed at me, but maybe.
Anyone who owns a business, Kevin?
That's okay, I'll answer it. First of all, I'm not in the tax collection business. I'm a farmer, and I don't think Brimfield Township is a farmer, so I think that's a pretty good disconnect. I have a long history here. Like I say, my grandparents bought that property in 1930s, so I really want Brimfield to do better than we have been doing. I don't see there being a conflict, or I don't see how I would promote my own business. I really haven't ever promoted my business. This is completely out of my element to be up here. So I run my business separate from my personal life. Most people don't even really know what my name was. So, I think that answers the question. Should I ask you or ask this guy up here? Thank you.
So the business that I co-founded and operate really has no crossover with government or the township itself. There's a very big difference between the two. Our services aren't provided to townships or governments, and those should never cross. You have to have a separation between your elected position and those businesses. Ohio ethics law says that very clearly, that there has to be a clear separation. But how do we showcase other businesses in our community? I think that's important. I really think that we as trustees and leaders of this community need to be helping the small businesses and helping them to succeed. We can help them to succeed in many ways. It's connecting them with the right resources so that they can get off the ground, because I'm going to be honest, starting a business is not easy. It's expensive, it's time consuming, it's dangerous because you just never know. There's a lot of pitfalls that you can face in that process. But we as a township should be focusing on the small businesses. And let me clarify small businesses, because this often gets tossed out there. Small businesses, I'm talking mom and pops, I'm talking little farm markets here, I'm talking Joe's Barbecue, I'm talking the small businesses where it's just mom or dad or one or two individuals trying to get this up and going. Those are the businesses that we need to be helping. My business, like I said, doesn't interact with the township at all. We offer consulting services to manufacturing firms. So there's really no crossover there. And we wouldn't even highlight that because what we need to be highlighting in Brimfield are the small places. When Jack's Pizza was there, this is what I did. I go out and I support them. Supported Joe's Barbecue, supported the gun shop when it opened up. We used to have the wood factory that was across the street there. We go out and promote those businesses by meeting with them and sharing their posts and interacting with them. That's what we should be doing personally as leaders too, is to help them succeed. Because if the small businesses succeed, then our communities succeed. They bring in some tax dollars for us. During COVID, one of the things my wife and I did was twice a week, we would go out and we would choose a different community restaurant, eat there, show photos, and really promote them. Not because we wanted to eat out every night. I wanted to, but we really did it because we wanted to highlight those businesses to help them succeed. That's what leaders do. We step up and we help those during difficult times.
Thank you for the question and the clarity. I'm not a small business owner. I was in the past. I had a variety of businesses. I didn't seek out any government handout or government approval for my business. I worked hard, just as all the other businesses in Brimfield do. They work hard. They promote their products. They promote their services. And we have many, many businesses. We even have pop-up businesses, such as on 18, you'll see a little food stand. That's the small businesses that we support as a community. You'll see others that provide plumbing services, other type services for the homeowners. We support those by, as a community, choosing them as our vendor of choice. Government need not play a large role in picking winners and choosers when it comes to business. It's the community that makes those choices. And we, in government, support those decisions. We make zoning codes available which they fit into a region and an area of the community that makes sense. Balancing the people have the voice. people vote. My priority is to listen to the community and what they desire. Businesses fit into that puzzle by providing services in which the people need. So with that, again, I support the people and what their views are.
If I could just jump back just a little bit. Mr. Coia mentioned that all these exciting things are coming in the near future in regards to the 50-year economic development plan. Mr. Coia has had 7 years to make these changes, and we can see the direction that Brimfield Township is headed in now with all the industrial development, residential development, and what's happening now is he's voting for abatements for the light industrial aspect. 60% off your property taxes for 10 years if you have a light industrial business. Then they're looking towards the state. After that, they want another 10 years. This isn't the direction that Brimfield Township needs to be going. Now, prior to the trustee meetings, they're having legislative changes twice a month. We don't need to make all these changes. It seems like it's being slipped in when no one's there to object. If the 50-year economic development plan needs that many changes, maybe it's time to scrap it and lean more towards the side of residential protection and keep properties the size they are, decrease residential development. In regards to how can business be promoted fairly, I mean, I would maybe recommend the trustees going out and visiting all these different restaurants and then trying to promote it online and indicating what they liked and the cost of that, and maybe that restaurant might be able to give $1 off for anybody that viewed this online and the way we were kind of judging the food in the restaurant. That would be a suggestion I would have off the top of my head. Thank you.
My business is not in Brimfield, so you don't have to worry about me making decisions that would benefit me personally. I believe everybody in Brimfield should patronize our businesses here locally before going other places. Yeah, you get tired of going to the same thing to eat, whatever, but you know, patronize our local businesses first. There's times that, you know, oh, I would like to go over here or there, and then you're driving past a local place here, and you just pull in there, you know, just nice and easy here, but everybody should be treated fairly as a business owner here. I buy eggs from my neighbor. I'll probably buy some from Kevin here shortly, some honey, now that I know he has a market, but spread it around, be friendly.
All right, gentlemen, if the township owns several parcels of land, would you consider selling that land to offset the cost overruns by the current trustees?
Mr. Johnson, have a second. Selling several parcels of land. We have a variety of holdings when it comes to land within Brimfield Township. I believe the last count we have 7 to 8 parks that we've designated within the township. Can a community of our size support that? It's highly unlikely that we're going to be able to. A strategic sell of certain assets could be possible, may be possible. Looking at the debt that the township is carrying, if you take and look at the numbers, we're up to about $10 million in debt. What are we going to do? There's only several, options. We can massage the budget to some extent, maybe with the JET money that comes in to service that debt. But again, those are going to be long-term pieces of debt that we have to review. So I'm not going to commit to selling any parcels of land. We would have to do a review, see what assets we have in land that we could possibly separate with that's underutilized to help fund some of our deficit that we have. But again, I would use community input, have public hearings, public meetings, to talk and bring that up for a public discussion. That's the best way to do that. Present it, let the community decide through feedback, and make a decision at that point.
I think we should get a group of 5 mind trusts together and kind of discuss the options. And because we're in financial disrepair right now, we got to get out of that. But if we were to sell the land, we need to put restrictions on what that land can be used for. And make sure we put that in our legislation, and that has to be followed. But I think we really need to do something to get out of this financial strain. Get a group of people together and try to make the best decision possible for Brimfield Township. Thank you.
If we're $10 million in debt and we have property sitting there with nothing going on, let's see what we can do with it to get out of debt. There's no other way to dig out of $10 million just by pinching a little bit of fat off here and there. If we're not using the property, let's see what we can get out of it. Thank you.
I think you can't just say across the board, I get rid of all the property. I think it depends on the property, the parcel, what benefits it has to the community. I mean, if there's none, I'm all for getting rid of it to help to get rid of the debt. If it is a benefit to the community, I think we should find a way to keep it. But I think that's going to be on a case-by-case scenario.
Would we sell the park, is that what they said? Would they sell park land, or is it any land? Okay, any township land. I guess that depends on what parcel it is and where it's at and what the plans are. But I have learned from experience that once you sell a piece of property or parcel of land, you're not getting it back. So I would double check on things and make sure everybody is in favor of it before I would pull a stunt like selling something that could be a benefit to the township later on down the road.
So this has been a discussion at the board previously. We pulled all of our land holdings and have those documents in place to look at as an option. But here's the reality, $10 million in debt, how much is that in bonds? Because we have a building that's being built right now, the fire station. You can look at that as an $8, $9 million project. It's easy to throw out these big numbers. Here's the reality. We're working towards a balanced budget. I believe in 2026 we're going to be there. We've already made some cuts in the administrative general fund, which is going to balance things out. And then we're going to start looking at what cuts we start to make there moving forward. Those cuts will allow us to drive towards that 40% carryover balance that we're looking for. That's going to allow us to have some financial stability and not be in a position in the long run where we need to be taking loans to purchase fire equipment, emergency vehicles, and those sorts of things. The reality is that we are working very hard to straighten out the budget, but the board had to work with the information that was provided to them. That information was not always transparent and easy to work with. Under Jasmine's leadership recently, we're getting monthly reports. Our department heads are reporting back positive impact from that, and we're already starting to set up a plan. We have a plan on paying back the overages. We use the JED funds as that temporary payment as we go through that 3-month process to acquire the loan. Once that's done, that loan will repay back those JED dollars, keeping police, fire, and roads sustainable and operating in full operation. If that was not to happen for some reason, let's say the loan failed, well, we had emergency plan B, which is then we take that revenue that we are saving out of the elimination of the business manager position and the parks position, covers that loan, gives the payback in 2 years, and keeps those departments still operational and their budgets still moving forward. So we have plans in place, and I think that's really a nuclear option to start talking about selling off land. Land is something that you don't get to recreate. Once it's gone, it's gone. Once it's developed, it's developed. We hear from everybody that we want more farmland, we want more preservation, and that's what we've been doing. Some of those properties were donated to the township, and there's deed restrictions on those. We'll look at our newest park that's back there behind poles there, it has a deed restriction on it that it's only to be used for park land. We can't sell it off and make a profit on it. There's a reason that it was donated to the township for those uses. So as we work through this, it may sound simple on paper just to say, hey, we're gonna sell off land. That's not how that works. There's a lot of rules, there's a lot of regulation, and there's loopholes that we must go through. So I think it's really important that we play by the rules and we follow those. But I also believe through these new budgeting plans that we're gonna see a stabilization of this budget. We're also going to find that those JED revenues have started to continue to increase, and we're going to make sure that they're allocated properly at the 30-30-30-10 distribution so that police, fire, and roads will continue to be funded without adding additional costs to the budget, which has been done in previous years through our previous fiscal officer.
Okay, gentlemen. Other than levies that would increase property taxes, what alternate ways would you promote to increase funding within the community? Or what would you cut first to help save money? Mr. Smith?
Well, it's a good question. Seeing how I don't really have the financial reports that would give me that information, I think, going back to zoning permits and that, I think they could be adjusted to promote some much needed income, especially when it's a development. I think they could pay their fair share a little more than they do. As far as what I would cut, I have to say I did look through the financial statement. Now there's a lot of information on there, but for the last 12 months, I don't actually see a whole lot of misspending of money. So I'm not sure what I would cut. I'd have to look at things. But there's nothing that really sticks out as far as something that needs cut. So I guess that's my answer.
So as we look at, the stances that are in the state of Ohio right now, there are true financial concerns both for our township and all townships. There's propositions out there right now that could eliminate property taxes. And I can tell you that's a big financial hit to this township, and we're going to have to reconsider a lot of things really fast if that's to happen. There's a second proposal out there that's just going to cut into the schools, which is then going to force the schools to have to start to reevaluate how they operate pieces. So levies is not the answer. I get it, it's hard. I look at my taxes, they go up just as yours do. We don't get a discount for being an elected official. Taxes are expensive. And so how do we start to cut this? Well, one of the things we do is we start to streamline how we operate inside our departments to ensure that we're using those dollars as smartly as possible. I'll give you a great example of this. Our fire department recently had a levy back in 2024, and it was just a straight renewal. What does that mean? As we add more houses to the township, the share of the pie just gets cut up more. So, simple equation for you. 100 houses, pay $1 a month in property taxes, we get $100. If we add 200 homes, guess what? Everybody pays 50 cents. Doesn't seem that well when you use property taxes because there's all these other changing pieces happening. But the reality is, we were able to add more homes to there, but do a renewal without an increase. So we're still operating under those old funds because we've made smart decisions within the fire department. We do that through grant programs. We need to do a fire engine. We're not looking at floating that bill through the township and taking $1 million loan. We're actually working with the feds right now to get a loan that's going to cover 90 to 95% of that fire engine. So it's going to be very low out-of-pocket dollars. We have a great grant company that we work with. Their program is this. We identify grants that we're interested in. They write the grants for us at no cost unless it's accepted, and then we give them a percentage of the grant funding. That's a great way to leverage outside third parties to make sure we bring funding in from the state and from the feds that keep us operating in a positive manner. Now, if we needed to start making cuts, I'm going to tell you right now, I said it before and I've stuck to my word on this. Police, fire, roads, those will not get cut. We're not going to have any decreases in there. They are the backbone of our community. If our roads aren't plowed, our fire engines can't get to you. If our fire engines can't get to you, we can't put your house fire out. Our police services need to be able to get you there also. I am not a proponent of bringing the sheriff's department in here. I am a proponent of saving and keeping our police department. Brimfield has some of the greatest officers, both firefighters and police officers in the state, and I'm really proud of them. So we will ensure that those pieces stay. Parks is it's a nice to have. Now, do we want to maintain it? Absolutely, but when cuts need to happen, we start looking at those pieces. It's not easy decisions, but those are the decisions leaders have to make, because we need to make sure that your balanced budget is happening and that your money is spent wisely.
As far as cuts go, police, fire, roads, I would not touch them. I would ask them to just look at their own departments and make sure that they are operating as efficiently as they can. But I suspect that they already are. As far as parks go, I believe I already mentioned, I think we can do better. I hate to see it cut, but I would be open to that. I think we can rely on grants, sponsorships, volunteers to have a better parks program and have it cost less.
I have a couple ideas what we can do to increase revenue. Right here, I possess the monthly activity report for the Brimfield Fire Station. This represents the billing of EMS calls. If you are not familiar, if you call for an ambulance, be it a citizen of Brimfield or a resident of another community, your insurance company is billed. And Brimfield Fire Department is reimbursed. So let's look at the numbers. In 2024, and these came from the fire chief. These are not my numbers. They came from his office. He handed it to me. We billed, the fire department in 2024 billed for $1,247,787.92. That's what was billed. Let's talk about what was collected. $816,155.25. So there's about $400,000 if we work a little bit harder that we can raise in revenue for the fire department. Those are the things that I get involved with. I've met with the fire chief. I've met with the police chief. I haven't talked to Dave too much. He's doing a great job. Out of all the budgets in this township, the police and the roads department are the best managed. They have surplus of funds. What happened? Well, when we needed money, we raided the the police department. I think we took $243,000 from their JED money, moved it over to pay Rycon. Well-managed police department. The fire department's under a little bit of stress. I was told by the chief that we possibly may have $25,000 carryover. Right here, billing, EMS calls, money left on the table. There's how where you get more money to fund your fire department. Cover that cost of that fire station. Let's talk about the fire equipment that we have. It's aged. If you drove by and look at the pumper units that we have, we need a ladder unit as well. So what do? It's $1 million, but the federal government, like Nick said, comes along and provides 90 to 95%. We have $50,000 that we need to raise. How do we raise that? A nonprofit organization supporting the fire department, having reverse raffles, golf outings, and try to raise that kind of money. I believe that we could raise $50,000 to $60,000 a year on several events for the fire department. Again, that needs community input, community support. We have that support here in Brimfield. We just leave it untapped. Those are the options that we have as a community. I'm working right now with the fire chief, presenting to him, maybe we can, as an outside agency, can form a nonprofit for a fundraiser through a reverse raffle, golf outing, night at the races and things like that. So we can fund that new fire truck, a new ladder truck. Right now, a ladder truck is very, very important. We need one. So these are some of the ideas I have if elected for trustee. Move the fire department into the 21st century with new equipment to go along with the new fire station. As a community working together with new ideas, we will be able to accomplish that. Thank you.
While he's grabbing that question, I just would like to say that the fire department, and I have to stand up for them, they did donate, or not donate, but give Brimfield Trustees, along with the police department, the money to pay Rycon, who was the contractor for them. So, fire department, they came up and did what they needed to do to help bail Brimfield Township Trustees out. Well, one of the first things that I would focus in on is things that are happening in-house that are outside of normal ranges. I don't remember the last time there was a zoning emergency. So I don't quite understand why the zoning inspector has a truck, brand new truck, that he drives 40 miles one way. And has there ever been an emergency where he had to come down and settle anything? I don't think so. That would be a cut that I would make. When you're the zoning inspector and you make over $100,000 a year, that's excessive for this area. That's another cut that I would make. So the cuts that I would make would be in-house. And let's get things to a normal level where they can be manageable. And then start looking outside and where we should head. Thank you.
First of all, even looking at police, fire, or roads for cuts, I believe Mr. Rufner's road department came back for this Rycon payment also, didn't you? Yeah, we can't let that slide by us. Police, fire, and roads all gave back to our community. I would agree with James. We don't need a few things that are being paid for by the taxpayers to help someone get to work. That's really unnecessary. As far as parks and recreation, that would be one of the first things I'd look at cutting. If we can't afford our budget, we can't afford to go play in the park. We got to get to work, and that's about it.
All right, gentlemen, almost at time. I have one more question, 2 minutes apiece, please, on this one. Where do you see our township in 3 to 5 years? And what would be, if you were elected, what would be your first priority in the new position? Mr. McKey?
I would say the first priority would be to finalize and get the fire department done. Completed, finished, all the I's dotted and T's crossed. Secondarily, I would make sure we were out of financial disrepair, and that would be neck and neck for 1 and 2 to make sure that Brimfield is no longer in debt.
Number one, I would try to balance the budget, rebuild the trust between our board and our community members. I believe there's a lack of trust there. It's easy to say we can rebuild this or that, our trust, integrity, whatever, but actions speak louder than words. Day one, we gotta fix the budget and work together to make Brimfield better.
Where do I see Brimfield in 2 to 3 years? It's an interesting question, but I can tell you what my vision is, and I believe we have support in the community. If you've driven from I-76 south to Township Road, wouldn't it be nice to have a new lighting district there, where you have beautiful lights, you have sidewalks, make our community mobile, foot mobile. Those are the visions that we're working on at the zoning commission to put forth in the next 2 to 3 years. Again, with community input, those tasks can be achieved, but we still have roadblocks, such as ODOT. They seem to want to be a roadblock. We're going to overcome that. We're going to make the community beautiful. We're going to continue to work for that. We're going to continue to work to preserve our rural characteristics of Brimfield. There's no nothing more pleasurable than seeing cows roaming in open fields and corn and beans being grown every spring and being harvested in the fall like it is now. So I see also the community having input in the vision of where we move forward to in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm excited. There's nothing to be worried about. As a community, we can overcome any challenges. Our financial issues will be resolved. Not because of what the trustees do or don't do, it's because of what the community does and how they support the trustees. That's how we move mountains. Not one individual, not one trustee, but the community working together. And I look forward to that. And I'm excited about the future in the next 2 to 3 years. Thank you.
So number one, I guess, financially, I think we will get past this bump in the road. We'll do better. There will be brighter days ahead. And so we will get there. I think kind of my number 2 goal, and this is probably a little harder to I guess, judge, is my goal is that when Brimfield is mentioned in the papers, that's for good things, and not for embarrassing situations. So that's where I'm at. Is I want Brimfield to be known for responsible and honest, integrity people.
I know you're gonna get tired of me asking, but could you reread that question?
In 2 to 3 years, and what would be your elected for primary focus?
So my first focus, if I was elected, would be to look at all the information that I can't get by not being elected. And I'm scared to death of what I see in 2 to 3 years. I think I see a lot of traffic jams, a lot of cars going really fast. I see a lot of residential development shoved down our throat. I'm a little bit nervous about that. That's all I know. Thank you.
2 to 3 years. I think my number 1 goal, first coming back after re-election, is working with Jasmine. We've already started the process of finalizing the budget. We've got to get the budget reset, stabilize that with the board. Number 2 goal is zoning and economic control. Here's what's not being said up here, and I think this is an important part. If we get a ladder truck, that means we're getting 4- and 5-story buildings. We do not want a ladder truck. Right now, we had a hotel come into our township and bid to be built here. And the only thing that stopped it was our fire chief, who stepped in under his control and said, we're not building that because we don't have a ladder truck, and that's life safety code. Without that, we would have a very large story hotel built in our community. So we don't want a ladder truck, we just need a new fire engine. You know, we also talked a little bit about, funding that's coming in from medical building. You have to also remember, insurance companies don't have to pay all that money back to us, they have contracts with us. We also give a discount to our residents. If you're a resident, your insurance doesn't pay it, we're not going to bill you the overages on it. That's not fair. You're a resident here. We want to make sure that you're taken care of because you've already paid that for your tax dollars. See, these are the important things that we have to talk about. We have to look at the facts. We have to look at all the pieces that come together. My other concern for our community is I do not want to see us become a village, and I do not want to see us become a city. We need to continue to maintain our township as it is, operating as a township, not as a city, not as a village. A village is a slippery slope because a village means next census we become a city, and that's not where we need to be. We need to maintain our small town feel. People love Brimfield because we're a community, because we are a township. They love the things that we have here. There's also a comment about saving some money and we want to remove vehicles from drivers. Sounds great, but can't be done. It's under contract. Until that contract's done, we can't remove that vehicle from the zoning and economic developer. It's built into their contract. We have to break the contract to do that. See, that's what I bring to the table here for you is the knowledge, the experience, and the hard work and dedication to know these things. Ideas are great, but you got to know what's happening in order to make it work properly. And that's what we're talking about here. So 3 to 5 years, I see our township staying a sound township, still having that small town feel, but a budget that's stabilized, and that's our number 1 goal.
Gentlemen, we thank you for your time today, thank you for your answers, and we wish you very good luck. Thank you.